Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dave Brown here in beautiful Denver, Colorado. It's really nice out, so I figured I'd stay inside and make a video with the plants, the way nature intended. Today we're going to cover Bob Marley's Is This Love. I've been meaning to make this video for a while, so here we go. There's essentially the riff, which is based off of your classic minor pentatonic scale. At least the first half is. Then it's going to go to more of a C-shaped position if you're familiar with the cage system and or how they line up with the pentatonics. But yeah, we'll start off with that first riff. I like to throw the downbeat in, as in 3, 4, 1, 2. So 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And, don't think it's actually a part of it. It's just, especially if you're just playing by yourself, it's a nice way to round it out, as opposed to 3, 4, 1, 2. Anyway, so that first part is second fret on the 6th string with your first finger. Then you're going to do, the picking should be pretty consistent. What I would recommend is going up on the next note, which is the 4th fret on the 5th string, down on the 2nd fret on the 4th string, and then up on the 4th fret of the 4th string. 1, 2, up, down, up. And again, right out of that minor pentatonic scale there. So 1, 2, and down, up. And so 3, 4, 1, 2, up, down, up. Now, again, you can break it a little bit as long as you're consistent. Like for me, like if you're still alternating picking, that note's technically the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, an A, is technically an upstroke, but it also feels okay to kind of do a downstroke. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. As long as you're consistent, I'd probably recommend an up note or an upstroke on that A, but there, I've said my piece. So you're gonna go down, up, down, up, up, and I like to give this guy a little shake. Then there's that last part. So you're going down, up, 4th fret on the 4th string, down, up on the 4th fret of the 5th string, down on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then back up on the 4th fret. So the whole riff, again, completely out of that minor pentatonic scale. Okay. Then, like I said, it's going to be going to kind of a C shape pentatonic. I mean, there's several. You can go. I mean, you can play it up there in the A shape if you want, but I tend to kind of keep it local, right next to the F sharp minor pentatonic. Anyway, so pinky on the 5th fret of the 4th string, ring finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, first finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So I like to go up, down, down. You can also go, I like to go up, down, up. If I'm alternating picking, also up, down, down, or down, down, down also work. Again, consistency is the name of the game. So whichever feels most comfortable, go with it, but I'd recommend the alternating picking. So up, down, up. For those of you who don't know the difference between alternating picking and economy picking, which is essentially what I'm describing, alternating picking says that you go down on the numbers and up on the and. So if you're just playing one string open, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, which is really nice, everything's consistent. If you're tapping your foot and kind of rocking back and forth, 1 and 2 and 3 and, so if you do a couple upstrokes in a row, it tends to be consistent, like 1 and 2 and 4 and. So if you're skipping a whole bunch of strings, let's say you're trying to play all 6 strings, you're going down, up, down. I'm sorry, I got a little lost my footing there. Down, up, down, up, down, up. As opposed to economy picking, would just say, what direction are you going? You might as well use that stroke. So if I'm trying to play all 6 strings, down, 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 down. Okay, so that's the general concept between the two. And I, again, am advocating for alternating picking. You can mix and match, but again, consistency is the name of the game. Okay, so again, we're on the second part of that riff. We're going up, down, up. And then from here, for me, it's the most comfortable to play the next part with my first and second fingers. And honestly, I don't know if it's actually a part of the song, but the slide kind of sounds nice. Okay. So you're gonna slide your first finger, or at least reuse your first finger. So you can either just hop it directly there, or throw a little love into it. So you're gonna go first finger on the second fret of the third string, sliding into the sixth fret, or in between the dots 2 and 3. Always use the dots; they're great references. Plus or minus game, kind of like counting cards. So yeah, your first finger is gonna slide into that sixth fret, and then you're playing the seventh fret on the fourth string with your middle finger. Then across to the seventh fret on the third string, back to the sixth fret on the third string, seventh fret on the fourth string, seventh fret on the third string, sixth fret on the third string. So it's kind of going around in a circle. As far as picking goes, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Feels right for alternating picking. You can also go down, 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 up, down, up, down, up. Whichever, again, feels most comfortable for you. So that's the first half. The second half is almost exactly the same, except for when you get to that part, you're going to play an A major chord, which is just your E-shaped 6-string root bar chord at the 5th fret. You're going to have a G sharp minor, so back 1 fret to the 4th fret, but no middle finger. And also an F sharp minor, so 2nd fret, same exact shape as the one on the 4th fret. And those are going to be quarter note triplets. So in context, it should sound like this. Okay, so notice we never even got to that second part, so we just went okay, so quarter note triplets, first of all, triplets in general fit 3 eighth notes where you normally find 2 eighth notes. The easiest way to think about that is if you're ever dealt with 6/8. 6/8 is 6 eighth notes grouped into 2 sets of 3. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, explaining that for a quarter note triplet is, I find, often difficult. Once you can feel 3/2, it'll feel pretty natural. In fact, 3/2 is essential to reggae. It's the definition of dub. It's just 3/2, kind of trancing out like that. But as far as explaining quarter note triplets, if you take 2 sets of regular triplets, you have 3 and 3, it's 6. So you think of how you count it as 1 and a 2 and a. So the first 1 and would be the first quarter note triplet. 2 would be the second, and would be the third. So it's like normally you have 1 O-let, 1 O-let, 2 O-let. So here it is 1 O-let, 2 O-let, 1 O-let, 2 O-let. Great. That's the intro. You can continue to play that part over the verse. There's 2 options. You can either play the chords, or you can play the scratch or the skank, or you can play the riff over that. So sometimes the riff goes a little quicker, or the chords even go a little quicker than how it is on the intro. For instance, I'm going to skip ahead. After it comes out, it does this walk down. I mean, this is towards the end of the chart, I think. It's going E, D, C, and I do that walk down. You don't have to do it every time. So that's normal. That's just a nice little touch. And then after that, sorry for the singing, but that's what's happening there. Sometimes it moves a little faster, so you just kind of cut it short and apply it to the amount of space you have. But that's pretty much it. I like to kind of just play the chords during the verse because that's what's happening when people are singing, specifically Bob Marley. Okay, let's go over the chords for the verse and or everything else now. So again, we're going to be covering reggae, which is known as the scratch. It's a very specific rhythm. Rock and roll has a whole bunch of different strum patterns. This is like the strum pattern. There's slight variances, but it's basically that set scratch. So what's going on is, generally speaking, it's nice to just kind of do it on the higher strings. So strings, like for instance, here's this A chord, right? So you can do strings 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, 3, and 4. Doing the full thing can be a little bit much. So if I'm, basically what you're doing is, there's a couple of different ways to think about it. You're on 2 and 4, you're playing eighth notes, and the first one is going to be like pronounced, and the second one is going to kind of be almost a scratch, like that's a little dramatic, like. So just a little shorter on the second one. Wrong song, stir it up. Anyway, so that's the idea. So I find that, like, for instance, the first chord that you're gonna have to play in Is This Love is F sharp minor. I find that it's nice to, especially by yourself, to imply the root on one and then the scratch. So for instance, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. In order to do this, it's really helpful to be able to have as much control over the chord as you possibly can, which is why you could go like this. I don't know, I find it more comfortable and or reassuring playing it Hendrix style, these 6-string roots, so that you're kind of grabbing, the miniature version of the chord up on the first, second, third, and fourth strings, while keeping your thumb on the 6th string. But that's the idea, okay? We could go through everything, but really, once you understand that scratch, we'll just do it with the F sharp chord. Again, the chord part is on 2 and 4, down and up, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and then you can add the root in on 1 if you like. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Okay, but that's the general concept. So the chords for the main part of the verse are just going to go kind of rotate between F sharp minor, D major, or you can make it in the C version if you want, and then A. So that progression is 1, 2, and 3, 4. Same concept. You apply the root, and then you do 2 and 4 with the scratch. I think you get it. So long as you can form the chord, you're good. Sometimes that goes a little quicker, so instead of doing 2 F sharps of 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 3, and 4. And that's what I was talking about before when we were talking about how that riff can come a little shorter. It's over that section. If you even know what I'm talking about at that point. I'm sure you'll run into it, you'll notice it. But that's the idea. So you're just doing F sharp minor, D, A. After that, it's going to go to C sharp minor and a B minor. It's going to kind of go back and forth between those. You're going. So again, this is like an A minor shape. Bar chord, 5th string root minor. At the 4th fret, as well as the 2nd fret for C sharp minor and B minor. So. Minor. Oh wait, I'm thinking about a different part of the song. So does this twice. So it's 2 bars each. Add an extra root in there. Now it does this octave walk-up thing from here. So for those of you who have never made an octave, the basic shapes are, if you're on the 6th string, you skip a string and you skip a fret. So we go to the 4th string over the 5th string and skip a fret. So if you're on 2, it's 4. If it's 3, it's 5. If it's 4, it's 6, 7, you get the idea. Same shape. You can fill it in even and get that power chord. Same shape will also work on the 5th string, so you can also get that power chord there. So you're going strings 5 to 3. And then on top of that, you're also doing, you have some options on strings 4 and 2 and 1 and 3. But these, because it goes 5 to open, 5 to open, 5 to open, 4 to open, these are spread out a little more. So instead of doing 2 frets, like you get to do these, you have a major 7 there, and now you have to raise that pinky up 1, or the 2nd string up 1, the higher of the 2 strings. Same thing applies for strings 1 and 3. Those are your basic octave shapes. Great. Now it's going to go 2nd fret on the 5th string. Excuse me. 2nd fret on the 5th string. And again, because it's a fixed position, it's better to think about jets above, I'm not sure if you hear it. It's better to think about one note as opposed to both of them. And so what I'm thinking about is, even though I have my fingers on the frets 2 and 4, I'm really thinking about just 2. So it's going to go 2, 4, 5, 7. That's the first half. So 1. And this is syncopated. Syncopation means a lot of it happens on the offbeat. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll do the same thing again, except it'll go here. So what I did, the first time goes, again, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7. Then you're going to go up here, whether you want to think about your first finger on the 9th fret or your pinky on the 12th, whichever works for you. Double dot seems to be a pretty good way to find your way on the neck. So it's going to go strings 4 and 2, frets 9 and 12, and then hop up to strings 3 and 5, frets 9 and 11. That's the first time. The second time, it's going to go to the strings 1 and 3, 9 and 10, and just move them back a half step to 6 and, Just kidding. 7 and 10, 6 and 9. So here we go. Got to know now. C sharp minor. F sharp minor. Now as it comes that walk down that we hit a little earlier, it's going to go E, fishing root A at the 7th and 9th fret, D at 5 and 7, so same exact shape. Then minor version of this chord, but on the 4th string or 4th fret for C sharp minor and B minor. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. So that last one's anticipated a little bit. And again, like I mentioned before, you can kind of slide into that. It's kind of nice. What? What? Take it from me, I don't know how to play it. So that's pretty much the whole song. Then it's just about mixing and matching what you want to do. If you want to add a solo section into the song, or the C sharp minor to B minor, it could go on for a little bit. I think that's how they just follow sort of the order of the song. So maybe twice on each chord. And right back in. There you go. I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions. Please like and/or subscribe, and have a great day.